interesting. That's a good question. I think probably there's two films like that. One of them is A Fantastic Fear of Everything, which I did with Crispy and Mills, which is a strange little curio of a movie. And the other one is a film called Hector and the Search for Happiness, which was, thank you, which was a really fun film to make. And it's a very sort of, it's very fabulistic, and it's quite sort of broad in its view of the world, but the whole thing is sort of seen from a child's point of view, because Hector is kind of like a child in a man's body. And I think that was mistaken for naivety on the part of the filmmakers when it came out. But yeah, it's a sweet film. If you get a chance, give it a look. You've seen it, obviously. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi Simon.
Hi.
I absolutely love Space. I thought it was amazing. Very poignant for the time at my age. Brilliant.
Thank
Do
you.
you ever consider going back to writing TV and maybe not the same, but
Yeah, what we're doing right now, you know, television has changed so much since Spaced, and now it's become, you know, as screens have evolved, and we've all got cinema screens in our houses now. Our televisions are, you know, 16:9, the right ratio. TV is no longer the poorer cousin of film, you know, and a lot of really exciting things are happening in television now, and a lot of great actors are finding the most interesting roles are on TV. So absolutely, Nick and I started a production company called Stolen Picture, and the next few things that I'm sort of involved with creating are based for television. So 100%, it's become this incredibly fertile playground, and I'm excited to get back into it.
thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got little Shaun here.
Hello, little Shaun.
Hello. Before my question, I just want to say that I've just started college and I'm doing filmmaking and media, and the Cornetto Triology is a huge reason why I'm so interested in films. So I just want to say thank you for that.
No, my pleasure, thank you.
Yeah, I just think that's so clever and brilliant.
Bless you.
But my question is there any sort of story or reason behind why a Cornetto is the reason that all the films are tied together? Was there any sort of anecdote behind that?
Absolutely. It was Edgar's idea to put a strawberry cornetto in Shaun of the Dead because it had been used as a hangover cure at some point by a friend of his. At the premiere of Shaun of the Dead, we got free cornettos. We'd never been given anything quite as amazing as free cornettos before, and we thought if we put them in Hot Fuzz, we might get free cornettos again. So, as a reference to Shaun of the Dead, in a very self-indulgent way, we put the cornetto into Hot Fuzz. We didn't get free cornettos at the premiere, which was a bummer. But as we were doing the press for Shaun of the Dead, for Hot Fuzz, people picked up on it, and Edgar and I were just going, yeah, it's part of a trilogy we're doing. We started to bullshit this whole thing about the Cornetto trilogy. So when it came to write The World's End, there had to be a moment in The World's End when there was a cornetto, which occurs at the end. And so that was it. It was a complete accident, but it felt like a nice way of tying the three films together, because they're thematically linked anyway. They're kind of all about the individual versus the collective kind of thing. Apparently we inadvertently made the first Brexit movie with The World's End, pre-Brexit. Somebody told us this the other day, that Gary King sort of eschewing the galactic EU, as it were, and sending the country into Armageddon. How prophetic that was. So yeah, it's a complete coincidence that we had the cornettos as a link. But I've had a lot of ice cream as a result.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck with your cause.
Thank you. Lovely lady here.
So we're at Comic-Con, we're all a little bit nerdy. So what would you say is the nerdiest thing you own that you're a little bit embarrassed about?
Me? Oh my God. I'm not embarrassed about anything that I own that's nerdy. I wear it with pride. I do have Unkar Plutt's nose in a glass box. But that's something that I'm very proud of. What do I have that's that nerdy? I think I have like a pair of goggles that were worn in The Empire Strikes Back on Hoth, and they're really ratty and stinky, and just the only thing that makes them worthwhile is the fact that some poor, cold extra wore them in The Empire Strikes Back, and I still have them somewhere, so it's probably that.
Fair enough.
Thank you. Thanks for your question. Hello, over here.
Hi there. Hi Simon.
Hi.
I'm just going to read this very quickly because I have a crap memory.
Okay.
And I'll be polite and make human eye contact.
You've got it.
So I'm another film student, and everything's been done before, so they tell us at uni. And I was wondering, as a writer and actor, how you go about taking something that's been done to death, zombie films, bloody cop around those alien invasions, to an extent Star Trek, and reinvent it as making it fresh, funny and relevant, whilst also being subversive of like the cliches and obvious in genre.
I think it's always important if you're going to use nostalgia or recycle something or reboot something to make sure that it reflects the epoch whence it is now emerging. You know, so you with Shaun of the Dead, you know, we took George Romero's world, you know, and very brazenly we sort of stole his idea and said so in the title of the movie. But we said certain things about modern living and you know, living in London. We used his kind of palette to say something slightly different, at least, even though we were essentially making a zombie film. I think it's okay to recycle ideas as long as you invest them with some kind of point. You know, if it's just for the sake of nostalgia, there are some films now, mentioning no names, that just rely on the fact that, oh, I recognize that. I saw that once in another film when I was 10, and as such, expect that to have some kind of artistic credibility or weight, and it doesn't. It's just cynical recycling, you know? But there's nothing wrong with doing things again if you feel you can bring them something new, and, you know, because they were, a good idea is a good idea forever. So there's no reason why something that's known can't be fresh again, you know? For Edgar and I, it was all about things that we'd loved as children that we wanted to kind of have a go at ourselves. A zombie film, an action movie, and a sort of social science fiction. So, yeah, I think it's wrong to sort of bemoan rebooting if the rebooting is done with some kind of, you know, point.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, last question.
Good luck with your memory.
Over here, please.
Hi, Simon.
Hello.
So you've done a bit of everything, like acting, writing, directing, and I...
Roofing.
and I'm also a film student, and I really don't know what area to go into. What advice would you give me to like narrow it down?
I would start working in film as an AD or something like that. Try and get yourself as you know, sort of intern work or something in a production company. Just get into that world and start looking around you at the kind of thing you'd like to do, whether that be directing or producing or whatever, production design. There are so many jobs within the film and television industry which you never hear about when you're in school. You never hear that in your careers thing, that you could be like a DOP or a chippy on the set of the film, you know, specifically for making a set. You never get told that. And it's not until you get in amongst that world that you can start to kind of pick out the jobs that you like to do. So, you know, if you can, write a shit ton of letters to production companies, get out there, have some practical experience, and start looking at what looks the most fun to you. You know, find the thing that you love doing the most and then get paid for it. That's the best advice I was ever given.
Thanks very much.
No worries.
Thank you. Really good advice.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. I'm sorry if I didn't get to answer your questions.
Sorry we've run out of time, I'm very, very sorry, but Simon, you've been absolutely wonderful. I think that's a nice way to end it as well. So
Calling me wonderful, sure.
and that obviously as well. Simon, it's been absolutely lovely. You're going to be signing more autographs and things like that?
Yeah, I'm doing some pictures as well.
Doing some pictures. So
Yeah.
if you do have another question for Simon, you can always meet him later.
Absolutely, yeah. Ask me at the signing place or the picture group.
So, can we have a huge round of applause for the wonderful Simon Pegg?